Hello and welcome back to Sophie Loves 10. I'm actually back today sitting in front of a camera. Last week you would have noticed that I actually posted a poem instead, which I was working on. I know you shouldn't show work before it's done, but I just wanted to read it and get it out there. And I am changing it around and working on it as part of my course. So that's not the final product. We did notice when I was reading it that a couple of the lines didn't quite work right, so I'm going to sort that out really soon. But I'm here with you today to film what I read in February. Now it's March the 1st that I'm filming this. It'll probably be up tomorrow, March the 2nd. I might try and get it up tonight depending on how much work I get done, etc, etc. But I thought I'd show you the books that I have read. Big surprise, big shock, I didn't read all the books that I wanted to read this month. The reading slump is still strong, still happening, but I am doing better. I have read quite a few books this month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a comic, I would say, so not too bad. Although I am stacking Audible at the moment. I have 2 credits now to use that I haven't used yet. So if you've got any Audible suggestions, please comment down below, and I'm going to have a look at Audible later to see what books that I can find. Which nicely leads me on to my first book that I finished. Well, finishing. I have 51 minutes left. I've been listening to it all the way to uni and back this morning. And I have been enjoying this a lot, although it's quite a chunky book, so to listen to it, some of my attention span kind of goes off every so often. And this is The Gollum and the Genie by Helen Recker, which was suggested to me when I went to a book therapist. Yeah, I know. And she said that I would like this book a lot, and she is right. I just realised that it says on the back, fans of the Night Circus will love this, which I can understand. It's quite magical and mystical in different ways. It's basically based on a golem, which is from Jewish folklore, a person made out of clay, and this one is called Chava, and she is freed when her master dies on the way over to America, and she comes into her own and she becomes her own person and not a slave, and she meets a genie called Ahmed, who is trapped in human form and also living in America, and they meet, and there's a nice little story. Not sure exactly how it's going to end, but I have an inkling how it's going to end, but there's some bits in between. The story is really like weird pacing, especially listening to it. Maybe it's different when you read it, but it's been really fast, and then now it's really slow just before it finishes, and I'm not sure how it's going to go when it finishes, but we'll see what happens. But I really like the idea of bringing together 2 kind of folklore creatures from 2 different backgrounds. We've got the Chava, which is the Jewish kind of folklore, and we've got Ahmed, which is from, I believe, Arab folklore. So we've got 2 really nice cultures coming together, which I really enjoyed a lot in this book, so read it. And then I have a comic that I read which I really like. I'm trying to get my boyfriend to read it now because I think he's going to totally love it, and this is I Hate Fairyland. This is volume 2, which was Fluff My Life. I have spoken about volume 1. If you do like the idea of this, volume 1 and volume 2 aren't particularly linked, but I would recommend reading volume 1 first. And this is about a girl who's trapped in fairyland. Usually children go to fairyland and they find a key and they leave fairyland as a child a couple of days later, and their parents don't even know that they've gone. This person, however, is like 26, I forget how old she is. She's like 26 years old and she's still stuck in fairyland, and she can't find this key. She becomes, I'm not going to tell you that actually because that'll be a spoiler on the first one, but there's loads of different stories in this one, and it's to do with a dragon. That's all I'm going to tell you. If you like the sound of it, pick it up because it's really good. And oh, by the way, the Gollum and the Genie, I haven't rated it yet, but I Hate Fairyland Volume 2, I gave it 4 stars because I preferred the first one out of the 2. Next, I have a couple of books for my course. I have got a separate blog for my degree, if you're interested in seeing that, let me know and I'll send you a link down below. It's not something that I particularly want to share with YouTube because it's for what I'm getting graded on, so I don't think it'll be that interesting. But if you want reviews on the degree books that I'm doing, give me a shout and I will post them to you down below. But the first one is a Child of the Jago, I think it's Jago, by Arthur Morrison. And honestly, I didn't know what to make of this. So far, I'm kind of umming and ahhing about all the books that we've been given on this one, because it's all non-fiction, very historical non-fiction books. And this one is basically written like a Dickens novel, but not quite the same sort of story, because it's based on non-fiction. It's a creative non-fiction, which I'm not entirely sure how that differs from most stories that are based on something true, but there you go. But this is based in the East End slums, and it's part of it's a story of a family in the Victorian underclass, and some stuff happens, and I read it. I don't feel like I got much from it, but I read it. If you do like Dickens, however, and stuff about Victorian England, pick this up because I'm sure you'll like it, but for me it's not that great. I think I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. And the other one that I read this month for the course, I have got another one which I'll talk to you in a second, but that is not going to be read anytime soon. I'll show you why. But this one I did read, and this is London Overground by Ian Sinclair. I wrote in my review of this about the front cover. I think is the best thing about the book. I absolutely love this front cover. It's gorgeous. This is basically Ian Sinclair talking about how he walked around the Ginger Line. I can't remember what line it's called. The Overground line. How he went to all the different stops and memories from each different stop. However, I did feel there was a little bit pretentious in some bits. It's kind of like Ian reminiscing about different things that happened to him during those times, and I felt a little bit like he name dropped a little bit. I didn't really get the point to this. I thought it was going to be really kind of an alternative book, like him walking around London telling us like which places to visit and stuff like that, and it's not like that at all. It's more of Ian's thoughts on those places, if that makes sense. So if you do like that kind of stuff and you do like story, there's a nice little story about Angela Carter in here. If you do like little stories and like memories and stuff like that, you would like this. But again, for me, I'm not really sure if it was my cup of tea. However, I do appreciate that front cover, so don't judge a book by its cover. And I have 2 more that I've fully read. This one I really loved. I just finished it on like the 25th, I think it was. On Goodreads it's not quite showing up for some reason, but I'm pretty sure it's the 25th of February. And this is Finally Read. Oh my god, it took me so long to read this. I do not know why. Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This was so good, like so clever as well. How I've read a lot of Alice in Wonderland retellings. In fact, I'm just about to do a presentation about Alice in Wonderland retellings for my degree. If you're interested in seeing that, let me know, because I will post it on YouTube when I'm finished. But I love Alice in Wonderland retellings, totally, and I've never ever read anything about the Red Queen, and this is all about the Red Queen. We don't get anything about Alice, which I was totally fine with. I didn't think I would be, but I was totally fine with. And it's all about how the Red Queen became the Red Queen, and it's horrible. Such a horrible story. I mean, Heartless is just gives you an inkling on what this story is about, but you've got a really, really nice romance story in here, and I just felt so bad for the Red Queen. I was reading it and I just couldn't believe what was happening. I was like, I was reading it, and you know when you're reading a book and you're like, I know this is going to happen, but please don't let it happen. I don't want it to end like this. And then it's just really sad. But we all know the ending to it. We all know what the Red Queen's going to be like. This is just how Marissa said she's become that person. And she's really, really cleverly like put like we've got the Jabberwocky in here and how that came about, how the creature came about. We've got all different characters. They're all linked together and how they came about she's got the origins down to a really fine art, and I really truly enjoyed this. I gave this 5 stars on Goodreads, probably no surprises, and if you do like an Alice in Wonderland retelling, this is definitely a good one. I think this is definitely gonna be on the top 5 Alice in Wonderland retellings that I've ever read, and this is going to be spoken about in my presentation, so stay tuned for that. And then the final one, which I'm not going to completely go into because I have done a review about it, which was like 2 videos away, so it's pretty new, so go watch it if you really want to know more about this book. But this is Caraval by Stephanie Garber, which I really enjoyed. A little bit like the Night Circus, a little bit not, like a game show circus thing. And we've got a really nice romance story again. I've really been enjoying my YA romance stories at the moment. So we'll see how we go with that. If I'm going to stay with that theme, perhaps we'll get out this reading slump finally. But I really enjoyed this, and I gave this 5 stars. As I said, there is a review about it if you want to hear more about it. So those are the books that I read. Not too bad, not too shabby this month. It's not everything that I had on my TBR. I didn't think it was going to happen. I was just trying to be. That's not too bad. I have been putting £1 away for every single book that I read so far, in my little saving tin. I'm going to do that all year, and then the money that I've saved, I'm going to use it for Christmas presents. I've decided. I think that's a really good idea, because last year I believe I read 200 books. So £200 for Christmas presents is quite a nice amount of money to have. So I'm going to do that as well. So if you fancy doing that with me, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. The other 2 books I'm reading at the moment that I thought I would mention, one which I'm going to have to, I might DNF it because I will show you why. This was one of the books I had to read for my course. I am on page 46, and although it is really interesting, it is all about the Depression. It's Studs Terkel Hard Times, and this is oral history. So Studs has written down all these interviews that he has given about the Depression, which is really interesting. However, it is very depressing. We've got one of the stories, and actually there's a little thing afterwards about how this guy actually killed himself afterwards. It's really hard hitting. Like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get through it. I feel like if I finish this, it's just gonna make me not want to read any books for a while. I'm also I don't think I need to read the whole thing for my course, so I might just leave it. If you have read this and you think it's worth getting to the end, although I don't see how there's going to be a progression in it, it's just interviews, please let me know if you think that I should read the rest of this, if I will gain a lot out of it. That's that one. And then the one that I'm reading for my own joy at the moment is something that I'm not sure how I feel about. I'm on page 62, and this is Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the second one in the Lumine files. I always forget what it's called, Lumine. I really enjoyed the Lumine files, and I kind of sped through it. However, I feel like this one so far has got more information on the pages. So Illumine, there was like more pictures and things, I think. I seem to remember. But I'm not flicking through this as quickly as I did Illumine. I think I read Illumine in a sitting, and I've had 2 sittings of this, and I'm only 62 pages in, so we'll see how this one goes. I'm going to give it some more love later, but I will see what happens, I think. But yes, that is what I'm reading at the moment. I need to pick my Audible pick of the month, and Raven Boys came on my suggestions, which I'm really tempted, but at the same time I know that I'm going to want to listen to all of them, and there's 4 in the series, so that's going to take up a lot of time and I'm going to get invested. So maybe not now, but I'm going to see what else there is, and I will let you all know. And I'll be doing a TBR for March, although I'm going to do less books in this TBR because I feel like I've still got a half pile down there for the TBR. I might leave the books that I read that I put in the TBR for February and do a completely new one, and then hopefully they will get read quicker. That is a strategy. So I will see you in my next video next week, and have a lovely week, everyone. Bye!